Hey Matt, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Good. Is my audio all good? You can hear me clear?
All good.
All right, sweet. I can hear you clear. So first off, I just want to thank you for doing this, hopping on this call and doing an interview with me. I'm actually down in West Palm right now, so I'm just ready to get back into baseball season. So
Yeah, so am I. Absolutely glad to. Thanks for reaching out first of all, and
yeah,
for the kind words. I'm excited to talk to you guys and get, yeah, like you said, get down there and get started again.
yeah. No, when I heard about your story initially, and I did research into you when the Nationals signed you, I was pretty intrigued. So I had some questions for you about that, and then I think this is going to be a pretty good interview. So
Perfect.
if you want to start off, if you want to kind of introduce yourself in this interview to Nats fans that might not exactly know who you are, kind of share about like where you grew up and how you got into baseball.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Matt Mervis. I grew up in Potomac, Maryland, about probably 25-minute drive from Nats Park. I went to Georgetown Prep in Rockville, North Bethesda, Maryland. I was actually drafted by the Nationals out of high school in the 39th round. Went to Duke for 4 years of college. I got drafted, or sorry, I didn't get drafted. I was a free agent sign in the 2020 COVID shortened draft. Signed with the Cubs. Spent 4 years there, I believe. I debuted in 2023. Got back up for a little bit in 2024, but struggled a little bit there. Got traded to the Marlins prior to last offseason. Um, Ended up finishing last year in Reno with the Diamondbacks AAA, and then was a free agent. So, um, the Nationals were the top of my list. Obviously, would love to play in DC and play in the home park that I grew up going to. But I think, yeah, just a good opportunity for me to, anytime you can get with a new organization and try to make it work there, I think is great. So I'm excited for this opportunity and to play in DC.
Yeah, definitely. I when I saw that story come out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. So growing up around the DC area, going to Georgetown prep, how much did that local baseball scene, how much did Nats baseball really affect your baseball journey and influence as a kid growing up?
It was big for me. I think when I was at the age to kind of figure out who I liked and who I wanted to root for was when the Nats moved to DC and they had their first couple of drafts, and some of the players I grew up with were, Mr. National, Ryan Zimmerman,
Mhm.
and like that's how I got into baseball. So um, it was great having the team there. Obviously, the Orioles are pretty close by, but I'm a DC sports fan, so it was cool going to those games in high school. I have a pretty close group of friends that we would go to games. One guy's uncle had season tickets right next to the dugout, so we would sit there and um, if those weren't available, we would buy the cheapest seats up in the third deck in right field. So any way to get into the stadium and watch some baseball when we could, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I just recently spent the summer down in DC in the Maryland area. Um, I'm a DC fan. My family's from Philly, so they're all Philly fans, and I got season tickets this year, and it was a great experience. Just being able to be at that park a few times a week, it was surreal. So yeah, the DC area, I've really grown to love it. So
Good.
that's why I kind of reached out when I heard about the story from you. So drafted by the Nationals in 2016 right out of high school. I know in the lower round, a lot of those high school picks end up foregoing it and going to college. So how did that decision to go to Duke come about, and kind of what did you learn from college ball that you might not have learned if you didn't go?
Yeah, it was a I feel like the Nationals knew my decision when they drafted me. Like I said, it was 39th round. Education was a big focus for me growing up. So with the Duke commitment, it would have been pretty hard to pull me away from that. Um, and I'm not speaking like I was a huge high school prospect, but um, really, I think it was more of an honor to be drafted than, a consideration to start my professional career right away. Um, I learned a lot in college. It was tough early on. I didn't really play a whole lot. I pitched more than I hit my first 2 years, and it was just trying to find a way onto the field. Um, working hard in practice, trying to figure things out in scrimmages and live at bats, just develop any way I could without the real game at bats I was missing. So it was tough early on, but I had a decent junior year. Didn't get drafted, so I went up to Cape Cod for the summer after my junior year and worked with a coach up there, Mike Roberts, who's kind of a baseball legend, who really, really helped me with my swing, with how I think about the game, thinking about how I'm being pitched and kind of using my pitching background to, not guess, but kind of anticipate pitches in certain situations. So he was huge for my baseball development. And then I think the Cubs did a really good job early in my career of just, they call it low hanging fruit, just things that they identified early on that I could work on. And yeah, just kind of happened from there.
Yeah. So I guess I guess you kind of alluded to it at Duke. You had to grind for at bats, grind to get on the field, and then 2020 rolls around and it's the COVID year and a shortened draft, and you go undrafted. You get an opportunity with the Cubs, and like, can you talk to me about the grind from low level ball up with the Cubs system? Because it's not a foreign concept to you at this point, but what was that like working your way up to the big leagues?
Yeah, I had a weird grind. It was a pretty terrible first minor league season. I think I hit around 200 in low A for the whole year. And then my second year, I had a huge year and it went high A, double A, triple A, and went to the fall league after that and debuted the following May. So the two seasons were just about opposite of each other. And um, it was strange. It was kind of, I felt very free at the beginning of 2022 because of how bad 2021 went. I was
Mhm.
a free agent, 23-year-old, 24-year-old, I guess at the time, um, that was coming off a terrible year, and I figured, what, if I don't play well, they're going to release me, so I might as well play free and have fun and see what happens. So um, it was a weird shift mentally from putting so much pressure on myself my first year to, it's baseball. Let's go have fun. And, there's still the grind, of course. It's a long season. Every day showing up to the ballpark and working um, can be tough, but if you're around the right group of guys and the right group of coaches, it's a blast. I mean, you're playing a game for a living, so you can look at it one of two ways. And obviously, I play a lot better when I'm enjoying it and playing free.
I think everybody does for sure. Did you think like 22, 23-year-old yourself would be in the position you are today? Uh, like having major league experience and then signing with the Nationals as of 2025, 2026?
I saw myself as the next Anthony Rizzo of playing 10 years in Chicago. And, um, that's everyone in everyone's mind. They stay with their organization that calls it or that drafts them or signs them, and they play there forever and they're a Hall of Famer. Obviously, it doesn't happen that way for 99% of guys, but I always viewed myself as a big leaguer. It's what I've always wanted to do. I didn't really focus on other sports past my freshman year of high school. I didn't specialize in any subject in school to get a job. It's always been baseball for me. So yeah, I've always, this is the position I've viewed myself in, and I'm just very grateful that it's with the Nationals now.
Yeah. Um, well, so now with the Nationals, but you've had a few stops with other clubs. First the Cubs, then the Marlins, and then the Diamondbacks to finish out the year. So I know each organization is a little different, but can you talk to me about what you learned kind of going through it? Because obviously stayed mainly with the Cubs and then a few stops along the way, but what did you learn from each one to get you to this point?
Early on, I learned a lot from the Cubs of just how professional baseball works. The expectations every day. How to handle yourself on the field, off the field, in the locker room. Kind of all things professional baseball. And there were a lot of really good influences there that I was grateful to meet my first couple of years and just pick their brains and kind of learn, a lot of guys that have had a ton of success in this game and just try to learn from them. Um, and then as I made my way up, I obviously talked to, Dansby came over my first year in the major leagues there. We had Bellinger, we had Hosmer, who was a great influence. So really just trying to be a sponge and absorb as much as I could from the guys who were, 10-year major league veterans and obviously have had a ton of success. And then the Marlins, they did a lot of like challenge work in their training. So it was kind of learning how to deal with failure, not just during the game, but in the training setting, trying to make it as game-like as possible. Um, and so it was obviously challenging and it was tough to, you don't want to get blown up in batting practice. It's kind of hard to find the positives in that, but it forces you to maintain a good attitude and really learn and not just, you don't want to hit 20 home runs in BP and then call it a day. So there was some value there. Then the Diamondbacks were just the last 6 weeks of the season, but a really, really good group of people. I felt comfortable as soon as I got there, kind of more baseball purists, I felt like just, old school work. You go out, um, and just play the game. And I had a lot of fun playing there, and I actually really enjoyed those 6 weeks.
Yeah. So you talked briefly about some of the older vets that you grew up talking to and trying to be a sponge. So you're not the youngest guy in the locker room anymore, and you're making that turn. So what do you hope that you can share knowledge or experience with these younger guys that are coming up? Because I think a lot of fans really don't realize that like being a baseball player is one thing, but then also like teaching that leadership and mentoring some of these younger players is huge. And that's a big part of why certain vets are brought into organizations. So what's one thing that you're like, if I could pass this along, or if I could do what this vet did for me, like what's one thing?
I think the main thing for me is just being the same guy in the locker room every day. Um, you know, I'll give Hosmer as an example. He kind of took me under his wing in spring training. Um, he showed up every single day. He was loud, big personality, greeted every single guy in the locker room. Was just a fun guy to be around and to, just hang out with, crack jokes with. So um, just generally being a positive influence, I think. A ton of these
Hmm.
these young guys on the Nats already have more big league time than me, so I can't go out there and just try to act like the veteran. Which I have no plan on doing. I just want to be there, be a good influence on these guys, and um, if I've played a team that these guys haven't, then I'll have some scouting reports on pitchers, kind of talk to them, or a former team of mine, kind of baseball philosophy things that we can talk about pregame. But really, just be a good locker room guy, be a good teammate, and somebody that guys want to be around.
Yeah. When the going gets tough and teams start getting on a losing streak, like you need guys like that in the locker room that can pick it back
Right.
up, because when it gets bad, it gets bad. So now, present day, right? So you're with the Nationals. So you said they were on the top of your list, but what was that like reaction when this opportunity came to be?
It was a pretty quick yes. I mean, I went to my agent. I said, you know, do what you need to do, put whatever language in there that you want to do, but this is, and he knew this is where I wanted to end up. And um, yeah, there wasn't a ton of thought. It was call my parents, call my fiance and her parents, and just kind of clear it with everybody. Not clear it like I need permission, but
Yeah,
just this is the plan. Um, and then we locked it in. I think the next day it was really quick. Um, the Nats offered, agent did his job, and then we're good to go. So I signed very quickly.
that's good. I love hearing these type of stories, and everything kind of comes full circle. So I guess like what does it mean to like I mean, I guess you kind of already said what it means to you personally to return home and play for that team that you rooted for in high school growing up. So I imagine um, if you end up making a start at Nats Park, you're going to have some family and friends in the crowd, and some high school friends cheering you on. But I mean, yeah, I guess you kind of covered it. It's just a really cool story, and I'm like so excited and ecstatic for you to be able to come back to this organization. Um, but so I guess we can move into the Nationals are rebuilding, and it's not something that's a secret. Um, and there's a clear opportunity at first base with this organization. So how do you see yourself contributing? What's your mentality going into spring training? Like, what is your drive?
Well, my drive is to be in the big leagues and have success. I've been up three times now and haven't had sustained success. So, um, being there for me isn't good enough. It's succeeding and helping my team win. Um, and for a first baseman, that's driving in runs, hitting for some power, and playing good defense. So that's my motivation. I mean, anything I can do to help us win, I want to do. And I've already had a really good call, I think, with a lot of the coordinators, some of the major league coaching staff, and I think we have some good plans in place to, like I said earlier, low hanging fruit, just attack those areas and improve some of those areas where they really think I can add some value. My plan for spring training is just go in and compete. That's all I can do. I'm not on the roster right now, so all I can do is control what I can control, go out there and hopefully perform offensively, make some plays defensively, and let the cards fall as they may.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that's the only mentality that you really can have going into this. But I mean, when everything's at your best, like you said, you're playing free that second year. Like, is that when you feel your best, even in the majors, when you're like, I'm swinging good, I'm making good contact with the ball, I'm seeing it well out of the hand. Like when you're playing free, that's how you want to go into the spring training, right?
Yeah, always. If I get in my own head or get in my own way, then things get tight and start to go wrong. So, and I feel like that goes for most guys. Just the calmer and freer you can play, the I think the probability of success goes up.
Yep. Sorry, I'm totally scrambling here because you were answering my questions before I'm even asking them. Because half of them were about what are your motivations, and you're telling me everything. So, well, I guess looking ahead to the season, if you were to talk to Nats fans directly and say, "Hey, here's what you need to know about me. This is the kind of player that I am. This is what I'm going to bring to this organization." What would you say?
I plan on driving in some runs, hitting some home runs, and having fun while doing it. I think it's a really fun, exciting young group of guys. Obviously, there's a ton of talent and athleticism. So um, I know there's going to be guys on base. I know they're going to be running, and that should put me in good situations to drive some guys in. So my plan is do just that. Take advantage of those opportunities when guys are out there for me, and um, if they need some pickups in the field, then I got them. That's my job over there at first base. So like I said, do anything I can to help us win. I want to have sustained success personally, but I think people always say baseball is a team sport that's made up of one-on-one events. So if I can do my job day in and day out, then it'll help us win. And I think we have a really good, young, exciting group.
Awesome. Well, I'm rooting for you. If you can't tell already, I'm a big fan of your journey, your story, and I hope to see you at first base next year. Hopefully, I can catch a couple of games, maybe go down to spring training a little bit. Yeah, no, it's great to hear that you're going to get down there early. And I mean, I have work stuff, but I hope I can get down there and see everybody and see the great progress the team's making this year. So I think I'm really excited about the season. I'm really excited about your season. I hope Nats fans are getting excited about everything rolling around. So no, I really do appreciate you hopping on the call with me and doing this.
Of course. Thank you very much.
All right. You have a good one, Matt.
Thanks. You too. See you.
Yep.